Hey guys, what's up? Mike here, and I know everyone's asking about the what if, but those videos take about a million years to make, so I am working on the what if every single day, and it's taking forever, so I didn't want you guys to have absolutely no content on this channel in the meantime. Which means that today we are going to do one of my favorite types of videos, a basketball conspiracy. And this isn't just a normal conspiracy video, this is the ultimate guide to every single Michael Jordan conspiracy there's ever been. Which means after watching this video, you're gonna learn a lot of things about Michael Jordan, you're going to start questioning some things that happened in his career, and you might walk away from this video thinking that Michael Jordan might be an alien, or at the very least, not human. With that said, I think that's enough for this intro, so let's jump into the 5 greatest Michael Jordan conspiracies in NBA history. Number 5, Mike's first retirement. The year is 1993 and Michael Jordan is on top of the world. After years of critics saying he was too selfish to ever win an NBA championship, he had finally proven them wrong and won not 1, not 2, but 3 championships in a row. Then, tragedy struck. On July 23, 1993, Jordan's father was murdered at a rest area in North Carolina. 4 months later, Jordan announced his retirement from the NBA, walking away from the game he was on top of. Almost immediately, conspiracy theories were introduced, mainly centered around his gambling. This was back before social media existed, back before even the internet had risen to its current popularity. And with this, the first part of Jordan's conspiracy is introduced, because while the public may not have been aware of Jordan's gambling at the time, we certainly are aware of it now. In 1992, fresh off a Bulls championship, Michael Jordan was called to testify in a criminal trial for James "Slim" Buhler. Slim was a cocaine dealer who, during police surveillance, was discovered with a check for $57,000 written by Michael Jordan. Jordan first lied and stated that the check was a loan to a cocaine dealer, but under oath was forced to state that the check was, in fact, made out to settle a gambling debt. Around this time, San Diego businessman Richard Aquinas, in a book, yes, Aquinas wrote an actual book, stated that Jordan and he would bet heavily on the games. And at one point, Jordan even owed him $1.25 million. And in May 1993, what finally pushed the NBA over the edge was Jordan's behavior during the playoffs. On the same day as Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, as late as 2:30 in the morning, Jordan was seen gambling in Atlantic City. At this time, the NBA had had enough and announced it was officially investigating Jordan's gambling to see if they needed to hand down any disciplinary action. Punishment for Jordan's actions seemed like a certainty at the time. Then, he retired. Michael Jordan was the NBA at this point in time. Everyone wore his shoes, everyone emulated his moves, and everyone wanted to be like Mike. The last thing the league needed was their superstar to be suspended, and thus shamed to the public. It makes perfect sense that David Stern would look to avoid this. Now, let's consider the NBA's investigation into Jordan's gambling. The investigation took place for 5 months, and with the obvious accounts of Jordan's gambling on public record, Jordan retired, and 2 days later, the league concluded its investigation, stating that they had found no trace of Jordan's gambling. Suspicious. And finally, at Jordan's press conference, when asked if an NBA return was in the future for him, he stated,
5 years down the line, if that urge comes back, if David Stern lets me back in the league, I may come back.
If David Stern lets me back in the league? That certainly sounds like Stern had something to do with his retirement. And all of this, combined with the fact that Michael Jordan is known as the greatest competitor of all time, a man who lived to be the best, who lived to vanquish any opponent who stepped in his path, and it's just strange that he would suddenly give all of this up to go and play minor league baseball. But before we continue, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video. Personally, for me, internet privacy is a huge thing. I mean, I don't think I'm the only one who likes their privacy. I don't want ad companies tracking my browsing data. I don't want any possible internet content blocked based on the country I'm in. And as a YouTuber, I definitely do not want hackers anywhere near me. I need all of my connections secure. I need my Twitter secure, my Instagram, my YouTube channel. And that's why a VPN or a virtual private network is the perfect thing for me. And I'm pretty sure you probably want one too, you just might not have known it yet. With that said, luckily for you, the best VPN, ExpressVPN, reached out to me and wanted to hook up all of you guys with a sick deal. If right now you go to expressvpn.com/Korzemba, if you purchase a 1-year deal, you also get 3 free months. Trust me guys, this is an awesome deal. ExpressVPN is the best VPN out there. Now, as I tell you about ExpressVPN, I'm gonna show you guys some footage of me actually using it so you can get an idea of what it is. By using Express, not only do you get a private internet connection that's anonymous and secure, you also get a VPN that is easy to use, has the fastest speeds, has 94 different countries you can choose from, and just so happens to be the #1 rated VPN by Tech Radar. So guys, if you want a private and secure internet, again, go to expressvpn.com/Korzemba right now and get 3 months free with a 1-year purchase. Number 4, sabotaging any player that approached his greatness. As we already know, Jordan would do anything to win during his playing days. But according to multiple people, including journalist Shea Serrano, Jordan did not stop pulling strings when his playing days were over, because apparently Mike is willing to do anything to keep his legacy as the game's greatest player, even sabotage his own teams. Yes, according to Serrano, during his time as a general manager and owner, Jordan has traded or cut certain players to keep his legacy in line. The first instance of this apparently came in 2002, when Rip Hamilton found himself on the Wizards and averaged 20 points per game as a third-year player. It was at this time that Kobe Bryant had emerged as a true NBA superstar, and many were saying he was the next Jordan. So apparently, to make it much harder for Kobe to win rings, Jordan traded Rip Hamilton to an up-and-coming Detroit Pistons team in exchange for the hot-headed Jerry Stackhouse. Stackhouse would have one good season in Washington before he completely fell off, while Rip would continue to develop, become a 3-time All-Star, and of course, help the Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers in the 2004 NBA Finals, denying Kobe an extra ring that would have boosted his legacy. Going further with this, as we all know, the real threat to Jordan's GOAT status recently has been LeBron James, which is why Serrano states that when Jordan took over the Bobcats, it was now his mission to derail LeBron, which is why apparently in 2010, Jordan traded Tyson Chandler to the Mavericks, who desperately needed a center, for 3 absolute scrubs. This was a horrible trade for Charlotte, but incredible for Dallas, as without Tyson Chandler, the Mavs most likely would not have beaten the LeBron-led Miami Heat in the 2011 Finals. And the very next year, Jordan would make the questionable move of just cutting a great role player in Boris Diaw. The Spurs would of course pick him up and used him as a key piece in a championship run, as Diaw absolutely proved his worth in the 2014 Finals by averaging 6.2 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game. This was of course the Finals where the Spurs beat the LeBron-led Heat, which meant that 2 of the players that Jordan got rid of in clearly terrible decisions would go on to keep LeBron from adding 2 more championship rings to his collection. Number 3, ruining a man's career with trash talk? So with the case of Muggsy Bogues, this story is sort of a rumor, as it's been said that towards the end of his life, former Hornets coach Johnny Bach had a dinner with a friend. In this dinner, Bach told his friend several awesome pieces of gossip, which is where the Muggsy Bogues story begins. So now let's jump to Game 4 of a 1995 playoff series where the Charlotte Hornets are matched up against the Chicago Bulls. It is this game where Michael Jordan apparently ruined Muggsy Bogues' career, as with the score tied at the end of the 4th quarter, Muggsy found himself wide open with Jordan guarding him. If the rumors are true here, instead of trying to contest this shot, Michael instead screams, "Shoot it, you midget." Then he watched as Muggsy airballed his shot. The Bulls would go on to win this game, and later, after his playing days were over, Muggsy Bogues apparently told his former coach Johnny Bach that this single play had ruined the rest of his career, as he never again had the same confidence. Here we have to fast forward to MJ's second retirement. During this time, Mike became the president of basketball operations for the Washington Wizards, which meant he was a major contributor in the Wizards' decision
decision to draft Kwame Brown with the first pick. Now, at first, the relationship between MJ and Kwame seemed great. Many say that Michael even appeared to be a mentor to Kwame, as that summer, Jordan would invite Kwame to his house to work out, and he told Kwame that he was taking him under his wing and that he'd do anything possible to make sure that Kwame would become a star. And more than acting like just a mentor here, Mike was acting like the father figure that Kwame Brown did not have. Then, when things were going great, everything changed. Michael unretired from basketball and began to play for the Wizards. And now, as a teammate, Mike decided that Kwame was too soft and that he needed to toughen him up, which meant that he would routinely mock Kwame in front of everyone and would even go as far as calling him a flaming Kwame Brown was not the type of player who reacted well to tough love. If anything, this betrayal from a man he trusted got into his head even more. And as we all know, Kwame Brown never approached the potential he once had as a basketball player.
Number 2, the flu/hangover game.
Leading up to the 1997 NBA Finals, reports began to come in indicating that Jordan was so sick that he could barely stand up on his own. And you know what happens next. Despite obvious signs that he was sick, Jordan played 44 minutes and finished with 38 points, leading the Bulls to a huge Game 5 win and leaving the public in awe. However, the question still remains. Was Jordan sick with the flu, or was he sick with something else? On the day following Game 5 of the NBA Finals, 3 articles in the Chicago Tribune attribute Jordan's sickness to food poisoning. In 2012, Phil Jackson stated in an interview that Ron Harper believed that Jordan had food poisoning. In a 2013 interview, Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover, stated that Jordan got food poisoning the night before the game from a bad pizza. And to cap it all off, Jalen Rose has spent a substantial amount of time inside the NBA's inner circle, which is what makes his comments on Jordan's flu game so interesting.
Michael Jordan's flu game, 1998. Flu or hungover?
When you go to one of your favorite restaurants, you can order things single, a la carte, or you can order a combo meal. I would think that that was a number 3 combo meal.
And so, if reading through the rather obvious lines, Rose is clearly indicating that Jordan was both hungover and sick with some kind of bug, which makes sense. Michael Jordan's love of gambling and partying is no secret to anyone who has followed his career, which certainly means it's possible that Jordan was out partying before a finals game. Again, Jordan was a notorious partier and surely played with some kind of hangover before, which means that up until this point, he had never shown these kind of symptoms from just a simple hangover, and the symptoms were certainly showing during this game. Also, the flu normally lasts a week, or at least longer than one day. Jordan was fine for Game 6. And finally, there are at least 2 more people who claim that Jordan was out drinking the night before Game 5. Jamal Tinsley believes that Jordan possibly went to Vegas the night before the game, and wrote, "But where everyone remembers flu game, I remember hangover game." And Matt Gokis, Marv Albert's color man, provided an equally interesting take from the media's perspective. Taken from Michael Jordan, The Life by Roland Lazenby, he recalled that, according to the stories and rumors, he, Michael Jordan, was supposedly at Robert Redford's chalet up in the Utah mountains playing poker all night and partying too hard.
And number 1, the unfortunate death of his father.
According to authorities, on July 23rd, 1993, James Jordan pulled over on a highway in North Carolina to take a nap. Seeing the car, Daniel Green and Larry Demery spotted an opportunity to make an easy robbery. They shot James, dumped his body in a swamp in South Carolina, and were eventually caught after making several calls on James Jordan's cell phone. But here's where the conspiracy begins. In 1998, Daniel Green explained his side of the shooting. While in the original trial, Demery blamed Green for the shooting, Green had another story. He states that, "I did not kill Mr. Jordan, no sir. I did not kill him, that's cut and dry. It's not like I was even there when he was killed." When asked if he was upset that Demery blamed him, Green said, "I feel that both of us are pawns in a game." Green does admit to transporting James Jordan's body to South Carolina and to disposing of the body. What he does say though is that he was not the killer and that he was not even there for the shooting. And it appears that there may be actual proof that Green is telling the truth. Apparently, an outside audit of the state crime lab that provided the evidence that got Green convicted in the first place was found to have falsely reported information about blood evidence in 190 cases spanning from 1987 to 2003. One of these cases that was provided false information was the case of James Jordan's death. And that's not all. Green's lawyers have also stated that on James Jordan's cell phone, Demery placed a call to the sheriff's son, a man who is now a convicted drug trafficker. This call, for some reason, was never looked into by anyone. And so, in the years leading up to his father's death, Michael Jordan was gambling heavily and had both a history of taking a long time to make gambling payments and a history of gambling with men who were associated with drugs and criminals. On top of this, James Jordan was killed in a case that was both mishandled and has been challenged for years due to the mishandling of this evidence.